Samson, I'll be very blunt. The government has come out clearly on that. You heard my minister. He said wholesale ban is totally out of the question. Yesterday, he even went a step further and said it will affect the economy. He's not making apologies for, I will always say, the middle look-alike water body we see. Was I consulted? Yes. The minister will not make any decision regarding mining without speaking to the Minerals Commission. So even ahead of his coming, I had even made it somewhere, I think on Metro, that wholesale ban will not solve the problem. I'll catalog a lot of maybe reasons for that when we come back. But then my colleague here was talking about engagement. Something again, in all humility and respect. I have read the statement of the organized groups. Let me use that simple term to put all of them together. When I go through them, I realize that there are a few things that they need to understand. I mean, the argument that the water bodies are not clear, it's not the best existential threat, whatever they want to call it. That one, nobody is contesting that because it's out there for everyone to see. I don't live in space. But then when you go to their statement, you realize that there are a few things that we need to, we want to let them understand. So the engagement is very, very important.
Do you subscribe to the minister when he says the economy will be in trouble?
Yes.
If it is halted?
Yes.
By the data from the Bank of Ghana, total gold export between January and April 2024 amounted to $2.17 billion, representing 38.5% of total export earnings within that period. If small-scale mining accounted for half of this, we're talking about just over $1 billion in 4 months. If you net out direct cost and the cost of environmental havoc, as well as health havoc, the net effect will be negative. You don't agree?
Something. I even have a more latest figure, as at June 30th, the small scale is $2.2 billion. But at this stage, we're not talking about figures. You see, when I listened to the professor, I think the earlier speaker, what's the name? Chinibu Akoduya, you can see that the argument, their response in response to the minister's statement yesterday, they were just looking at the revenue. You see, that's why this call for engagement is very important. They're just looking at revenue. But you see, there are two other issues that you have to look at. For example, people are shocked to know or hear that there are several thousands who are doing the underground. So you go to a place like Takwa, you go to a place where my minister comes from, the so-called New Frontier, Dakrupe, Tinga, they have licenses. So as far back as the time of Asuma Chairman, I was there when licenses were given. I was then a deputy CEO. Licenses were given to miners in Dakrupe and Tinga. They go underground. These are persons who are plying their trade that have nothing to do with the water body. They have nothing to do with the water body. So when you say respectfully that folks in Tinga, Dakrupe, Takwa should not work, we are uncomfortable with that because they are not responsible for the kind of thing.
They should not work for 4 months.
Well,
by doing so, you lose $2 billion. No, you say that's not worth it.
No, don't just look at revenue to government. You also have to look at jobs. And people in Takwa, Dakrupe, and Tinga have gone for loans. They've taken loans. They've taken millions of dollars to sink these shafts that are operating in a way that have nothing to do with taking the effluent or whatever waste into the Pra and Cobra or tunnel. I mean, these guys are there. They are not just one or two people. There are several thousands. So you also need to listen to them and hear them out. You understand? You need to listen to them because you go to Tinga, you don't have anything like Pra or even some parts of the Upper East. I just got a report from the Borga officer of the Minerals Commission, and then I've realized that he's indicated that if you go to Fumbisi, and that's Busa North and Busa South, there's an area called Kandema, they've started some kind of illegality, and when I saw the pictures, it was purely underground. So I've asked him, move quickly, let's formalize them, let's give them gold catcher as an alternative to the use of mercury. I mean, these are the kind of things we're talking about. So Yes, the anger is there.
We'll explain the difference between the use of mercury and gold catcher.
Yeah, we'll explain,
shortly.
we'll explain all that.
But you were talking about licenses, and the question that is coming up is that when we check from your repository, we see that between 2017 to 2024, there have been 1,500 plus mining licenses issued, as against 2009 to 2016, when there were 55 mining licenses issued. Between August and now, when we have started this discussion alone, you have granted as many as 30 plus. Don't you feel you should halt and pause, especially in this time?
Something again, let me explain that. One, some of them are renewals. Others, there are small-scale operations that have existed for 20, 30 years, and they are working quietly. Okay, so some of them are renewals. You must understand that. That's number one. Number two, this is an activity that was taking place in 5 regions: Ashanti, Central, Eastern, Western, which included Western North. You understand that? And then Upper is where you come from. Technology has made it possible for us to find gold in other parts of the country. So we are now seeing small-scale operations in 12, 13 regions. So numbers have gone up. That's why the licenses are also going up. But then the answer is rather the reverse. You don't issue the licenses, they go into the water body. They will go into the forest. They will go and do it illegally. Because I remember very well that the complaints of the small-scale miners is that we don't have license. We want license to go and work lawfully. I mean, there are several, thousands of Ghanaians out there who want license to go and work and live in peace. So numbers, or the numbers you are seeing from our repository, is not synonymous with illegal mining.
The conversation has been that it is the breach of these licenses that has brought us where we are.
Right, Samson, when we say breach, again, people speak generally. We have, even the large-scale people, occasionally there are breaches. That's why we have Inspectors and Minerals Commission to check them. What is the issue at stake? What are we discussing? We are seeing Pra, Tano, and Cobra, Brim and Co. looking like Milo. What is responsible for that? People mount platforms, various devices in the water proper, so-called, and then try to dredge, whatever language you want to use, scoop and do that kind of thing. That's one. These are people who don't have licenses. The Minister or Minerals Commission will not recommend the grant of a license to somebody to enter the water body, mount a platform or whatever device and do that kind of activity. So that is illegal. That is one of the causes. The other one has to do with persons who are perhaps within the bank or perhaps upstream, okay, because they don't have modern equipment.
We are not supposed to do 100 meters from the water bodies.
Yes, so they also, dig the ore and then wash into the water body. So we have to be careful we don't lose focus in our discussion. It has nothing to do with the guy in Dakrupe or Tinga who has sunk a shaft and is going down, bring the ore body up and process it on site.
Over a period
and
now.
Hang on, and is properly regulated. So for the Tinga guy, there's several thousands in Dakrupe and Takwa. When you say, everybody, put your tools down, they will have a problem with you because they are not responsible for the kind of mess you and I agree is annoying everybody.
They should not be punished for the sins of the others.
That is it. And then when I made this my statement, then...
Right. The question is, as you say, that is overgeneralized. But many come to the conclusion, including journalists who are visiting these so-called licensed mining places, and finding that it is the breach of the laws by the same people who have these licenses that is leading us to this problem. So that over this period, you say you felt that the community mining was the way to go. So you have given out 24 of such licenses to community mining. But in the heat of this discussion, where everybody is asking you to halt, just 2 days ago, you went and commissioned another of this community mining. Does it show that you are being responsive?
Something, let me clarify this. again, community mining is one of the several ways to go. We've seen cases, I mean several of them, where they come and tell us, oh, in fact, some people have even used the term glorified galamsey. So it's brought to our attention, this is community mining. You go and investigate, people have just mounted some signboard and put there, let's say, rah community mining. And they are doing their own thing. There are several of them.
Fraudulent.
Oh, yes, and they are not licensed. So when you drive by and you see rah community mining, there's no gold in rah yet. You know, we found something, but we are not mining. I'm just using that as an example. That's where I come from, okay? Or Ayisi community mining. These things are brought to our attention. You just drive by, maybe to Konongo or somewhere, and then the journalists will pick it, or some people will take a shot and say, yes, this is what we are talking about, glorified community mining. We send our inspectors there, we go and check, we realize that they have no license at all. People are doing that. And then these things are reported to the Assembly or the security agency, so it's important we put it there. It will be foolhardy on my part to sit here and even tell you that even the likes of Newmont or Goldfields, everything is 100%.
Okay, I was going to get that.
Yes, there are some. Of course, that's why we have inspectors. We go there and correct them, and in instances shut them down. There was a case recently where my attention was drawn to the fact that there's a community mining, you know, in the forest. And then clearly, I know that we don't grant licenses for small scale in the forest. Like the minister said, we went there, it was an illegal operation. So I get it, people are angry. I don't live in space, we live here, we dream, you know. But then, in our anger, let us not be carried away by emotions and then go and touch persons.
It's not emotions, so we are seeing our water.
I understand that.
We are being told of all the dangers. The deformed babies are there. We are consuming food. We are told it's contaminated.
No
the water company is telling us that we needed 2,000 turbidity level to treat water. At this time, it is 14,000 turbidity.
No apologies. Nothing practically grows in Accra. I like fufu a lot. I ask myself, do I know where the cassava? I eat akrante practically every day. And all these foodstuffs that we buy, they are coming from some of these areas. You understand that? So we understand that. But you see, when we also respectfully get carried away, and then several of them. So you see, when the argument was being made on the revenue alone, I became a bit uncomfortable. So when the government says, let's engage for you to understand some of the issues, that is not to say that we are not prepared to deal with the problem.
So just hold on, I'm coming to you.